Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan, and we're doing a little stream this evening after the Chelsea versus Newcastle game, where I don't know, guys. If you are Cole Palmer owners and players, feels pretty nice. That game felt pretty nice with a goal and an assist and the bonus points as well. 13 points, I believe. Cole Palmer, indeed, man alive. Very, very, very good to have him in the squad scoring those points. Just proving, like, once again, what an insane FPL asset that he is. Started this season at 5 million. Was 20 attacking returns in 19 games. It's unreal. It is just unreal how good he is as an FPL asset. It really is. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Of course, makes me feel a little bit better by the fact that I don't own Son. Yeah, I know. Let's not talk about that one. I've just had too many other issues in my FPL team recently to actually get Son into my team. But hey, still, maybe Palmer has helped me kind of climb back into a little bit more where I want to be in terms of ranks. But man, he is so good. Someone in the chat has noticed Coach Karan has says no jersey today. Well, actually, guys, I received a gift today. I thought I may as well show you. We'll do a little bit of a live new shirt unboxing because I received this gift from Back Stronger Shirts. You can see they've got a beautiful package for me. I love the personal touch of the sticker on there as well with their logo. I have left a link in the description, at the top of the description, if you want to go check them out and get some football shirts of your own. But I thought, you know, they've sent me a shirt. We may as well give them a shout out. Absolute legends. So we're going to have a look and see what we've got. Guys, any guesses to what kind of shirt they may have sent me? Gonna have a look, open up this package. We'll just rip it open. Actually, I kind of want to save the box a little bit. I'm not gonna rip it. I'm gonna take out the shirt a little bit more carefully, actually, and we can see what we've got. Oh my word! So, oh my word, things are going everywhere. So we've also got some football cards, I believe. Yeah, we've got some football cards in here, like classic ones as well. I don't even know some of these players. Oh, I do know some of them though. We've got Andy Townsend, absolute legend of commentary. Kevin Campbell, I've not heard that name in a while. David O'Leary, he was actually my mum's favourite footballer. So, like, Mother's Day yesterday in the UK, that was my mum's favourite footballer. It's the reason why my mum supports Arsenal, actually, back in the 1980s. Yeah, David O'Leary. She had a bit of a crush on him. I don't know why. That's her thing. Let her get on with it. And we've got a couple other players here as well. But I know you guys are here for the shirt. So, yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what we've got. It's not even sponsored. They just said, "Oh, can we send you a shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah." They were like, "Oh, yeah, we really like your content. We will, all of our, like, the three brothers who run this website." And they say, "Oh yeah, we watch your videos. Like, can we send you a shirt and can you wear it in a video?" I was like, "Hell yeah, hell yeah!" So, Back Stronger Shirts. What have we got? Well, ripping up this. This is what they've sent me. Look at that. Look at that, boys. That is an absolute beauty. Red Bull Leipzig shirt. Is it a training shirt? I'm pretty sure it's either a training shirt or like their away shirt from maybe last year or the year before. But absolutely love the design on that. I love the kind of zigzag patterns on the side. This is good quality as well. Really, really nice quality this is. Like, it's actually got like I guess it's plastic, like embossed kind of writing down the sides on those zigzags. But yeah, I'm gonna throw this shirt on. Now because I'm excited. You guys know I love a football shirt. Really, really do. Always happy to receive one. So massive thank you to Back Stronger Shirts for delivering me this absolute beauty. Hey, this is a vibe. I like this. I like this a lot. Nice. First Red Bull Leipzig shirt as well. I think it's my first German shirt as well. I think it's my first, like, German league shirt. I don't think I have any others from the Bundesliga, so nice to add that to the collection. Very, very pleased. Guys, a lot of you often ask me, like, where do I get shirts from? The real answer is all over the place, but certainly I'll be checking out Back Stronger shirts more often because, you know, absolute legends for sending this out for me. Like I said, I left the link at the top of the description if you guys want to go on their website and check them out for yourself. We will have a little look. We may as well go have a little look at their website as well, see if they've got any other kind of other shirts on there that look good. So it's backstrongershirts.com. We'll have a look, see what we've got. All products. I might pick it. Oh man, look at the sausage shirt. The sausage shirt. Can I pick that one up? Could I maybe pick that one up? That looks nice, doesn't it? I like that Belgium shirt as well. That might be quite nice for the Euros content this season. Maybe I'll pick up a few more of these because they've got some good ones. And they're really, really good prices as well. Really nice prices. Decent stuff. Good classic shirts. A lot of classic shirts on here as well. Yeah, excellent stuff, guys. But yes, back onto the FPL content. Even though I could talk about football shirts like for the whole evening, but we can't do that today because we've got to talk about FPL. And this upcoming game week, this is what my team looks like. I've got just 2 players. Yeah, seriously, I've got 2 players for Game Week 29, and that is Watkins and Taylor. So as you can tell, I've captained Watkins, and I've vice-captained Taylor. So yeah, that kind of works. Yeah, no, I will be free hitting this game week. I haven't actually hit the free hit button yet, but I don't think there's any like real pressure to do that right away. I'll probably save that to the last minute, just in case, like, I don't know, something like catastrophic happens. Maybe there's another disaster in the royal family in the UK and Game Week 29 is called off anyway. You know, something like that happens again. And you never know, you might want to save a free hit for another game week if the whole Game Week 29 gets cancelled for some reason. Maybe there's mass flooding or tornadoes. Is there any volcanoes in the United Kingdom that can erupt and cancel Game Week 29 entirely? Probably not, but yes. Leon, the site was backstrongershirts.com, and I've left a link at the top of the description for you there if you want to check them out for yourself. But yeah, we are going to be free hitting. We pretty much, for all intents and purposes, we will be free hitting this game week. Linus says, good team, I'd bench boost. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if we'll be bench boosting this game week. But yeah, look, this is the team. This is the team that I have currently drafted up for my free hit. I've drafted this up on Fantasy Football Hub. Like, just another like benefit of having a Fantasy Football Hub subscription. I know a lot of you guys already have have subscribed to Fantasy Football Hub because you guys appreciate the tools that they have. But one of the great benefits is that if you you're not quite ready to hit that chip, whether that's a free hit, whether that's a wild card, but you kind of want to get an idea of what you playing that chip might look like. Well, that's exactly what we've done here. So we've kind of assumed on this website, on the app, that we will be free hitting, and we've kind of drafted up a team that I think looks pretty good. And I know there's a lot of criticism about free hits this game week, but hey, honestly, guys, do you think I'm going to run with 2 players this game week? No way, we're free hitting. We're committed. We have committed by this point. So yes, what we've got at the moment, and I'm not set on this, and maybe we'll mess around with things a little bit throughout the stream. I don't know if we're definitely not locked in. And there's some players that I think maybe I could potentially change. But the basis is Flecken, Doughty, Moreno, Pedro Porro, Son, Bowen, Madison, Bailey, Watkins, Tony, Morris. And I think this is, I don't know, I think maybe a little bit too boring of a free hit team. Because I think a lot of people who do free hit will end up in a very similar very similar team to this, particularly that front 7. The front 7, a lot of people have the same, and I think maybe Alex Moreno is probably the only player in this team that maybe people are unsure about. To be honest, I'm a little unsure about him as well, because whilst there is this perception that like Moreno is a decent attacking asset, and he certainly has been in the past, when you actually look at maybe his like over the last maybe few game weeks since he's returned, there hasn't actually been a huge amount of attacking potential there. Yes, he did score in Game Week 23, but you look through his numbers, Game Week 27 was the last time he started. 0 XG, 0 XA against Nottingham Forest, 0 XG, 0.09 XA. Fulham, 0xg, 0.01xa. You know, guys can probably see through here, all of these numbers are actually pretty low. Even the game he scored, it was only 0.2 or 0.21 expected goal involvements he had during that game week. And yes, he has had some nice games. You know, that Brentford game where he scored 0.68xg there. He hasn't really played before that as well. When you look throughout the whole season, he's actually only got 1.1 xg and 1 xa this entire season, which is like not quite good enough, is it? It's not quite good enough. So I do wonder, he looks like a good pick when you think about him historically, but I am getting cold feet on him a little bit. And that is definitely due in part to the benching in Game Week 28. Although I have to say, you would expect Alex Moreno to come back in at that left back position and start once again, wouldn't you? You expect him to come straight back into that team. So it's a case of who else to go for, and I think defense is probably the most, maybe, is it just the most boring part of this game week? You know, Doughty looks decent for his attacking threat. We know Doughty has really nice, attacking threat from the defensive positions. Pedro Porro has shown a bit of that in the past as well. So let's go on the Opta Stats tool and start having a look at some defenders, because I think this is where most people will be a little bit different on their free hits. And, you know, guys, if you are looking for a defender for your team this game week as well, if you're not free hitting, it's definitely worth having a look at this as well. Although, to be honest, like, if I'm not on a free hit, I would focus my transfers on the attack, ideally. I don't think I'd be looking to go for defenders. But going for expected points over, let's say, the past, I don't know, what's that, 7 game weeks? 6 game weeks? 6 game weeks, and see who is up there in terms of, you know, players who actually have a fixture this game week. So the top 4 defenders for expected points over the past 6 game weeks have all been, well, Arsenal. They've all been the Arsenal back 4, basically. So we can't do them. Dunk hasn't got a fixture. Man City guys have not got fixtures, which takes us all the way down to Roslev. And he is a player who is currently on my bench here. Roslev is like low-key a player who I think is a little bit interesting. So I wonder, is it actually a case of just starting Roslev? Going with Roslev here, doubling up on the Brentford defence, hoping that Brentford could keep a clean sheet against Burnley, and maybe going for someone a little bit more reliable, like Ezri Konsa, for example, in that defensive position. Does that team look a little bit better? So a more reliable concept for my bench, just in case something disastrous happens. But does that look a little bit better? Not sure. I think it looks okay. Kieran says, surely Reguilon will get in, or is he an injury concern? Yeah, Reguilon is an injury concern, unfortunately. It doesn't look like he's going to be available for Game Week 29. Otherwise, he would be the standout. He would be the standout Brentford defender, and he'd be one of the first players on my team sheet if he was available. But unfortunately, Roslev looks like he might be the guy to go for from the Brentford defence instead. I want to have a look at some defensive numbers, because I want to work out like who is got the best chance, I guess, of a clean sheet in this game week. So let's go expected goals conceded. Use that as a rough guide. We'll go per appearance to get all teams on roughly the same amount. Brentford have not been tracking amazingly for expected goals conceded over the past 10 game weeks. But what I do want to say about Brentford, and I know we kind of have been maybe a little bit critical of Brentford defensively recently, but if you look at the fixtures that they've played over the past 10, well, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City twice, Liverpool and Spurs in their past, well, since game week 20, I guess, which is the I don't know, 10 game week period. They had a blank in there. Did they have a blank in there as well? No, they didn't. No, they haven't had a blank. So it's 9 game weeks. 6 of those games have been against big 6 sides. You know, particularly like Arsenal, City twice, Liverpool, Spurs. These are teams that score a lot of goals as well. Even West Ham, you could say that they're a team that, you know, they don't do too bad in attack. And some of the other games like Forest and Crystal Palace, conceding 5 goals against those is not exactly promising. The Wolves 2-0 victory, I think, is a good sign. So when we look at the Brentford defensive numbers, are we underestimating them a little bit? Because on the inverse, when you look at teams for expected goals per game, Burnley are right at the bottom alongside Crystal Palace. They really, really they really, really do look bad. Apparently, Region should be fine for Burnley. I didn't see that quote. Okay, if you guys are saying that Region should be fine according to Frank, does that fill you with enough confidence to go for him though? I think. Would you be 100% convinced? We're talking about a free hit here. Would it be more sensible to go for Roslev? I guess we'll see nearer the time. Right now I'm on Roslev, but if we get a clearer indication that Region will be fine. I mean, he didn't even make the bench for the last game. What do we know what's wrong with him? Can we have a look on Twitter? If we just search Region Frank. Go latest, I guess. Thomas Frank on Sergio Region. Oh, only a couple of hours ago. A minor hamstring. He should be available for the Burnley game. A minor hamstring. That does not fill me with confidence. A hamstring injury. You know, even if he is available, like, are we not kind of talking like a hamstring injury? That's like 2 weeks minimum. You don't miss one game week with a hamstring injury. So that does concern me a lot. Not convinced. I will be going for now, unless I see pictures of Region training for Brentford at full training. I'll add to that. I don't think I touch him. Dominator says Brentford early kickoff, so maybe team news. Yeah, okay, potential. Kabalash says probably bench. I tend to agree with you. Like minor hamstring, there's not really such thing as a minor hamstring injury. I mean, there are different grades of hamstring tears you can get. Some can put you out for months. Some can put you out for a couple of weeks, but less than that, don't know. But yeah, going back to this. Burnley, worst attack. Brentford, okay, they haven't been tracking with the best defensive numbers, but they have had horrible fixtures. Scott makes a good point. We don't know when he picked it up. Could have been last Monday. That's true. That still puts us under 2 weeks. And you don't rush a player back after, what would that be? 12 days? 12 days with a... would it even be 12 days? Yeah, it'd be probably less than 12 days. You don't rush a player back after 12 days with a hamstring injury. Really. So I understand if you are a Region owner, you want to feel optimistic. And absolutely, you should try and feel optimistic. And he's probably not a sell at this point. But since I'm on a free hit and I do have the pick of the lot, I can have any player I like. Would I want to be going for a player who I do think I am a little bit concerned about? FPL Giant says hamstring also has a high chance of reoccurring in the game. Same as Bell last week. Yeah, exactly. And other people in the chat seem to be speculating quite wildly about, oh no, it's not a hamstring injury. Tis but a flesh wound. Yeah, all right. Yeah, look, if you have Region, then feel optimistic. You absolutely should try and feel optimistic. I fully back you to do that. But on a free hit, I have the pick of the bunch. I don't need to take that risk. So yeah, I think the best chance of a clean sheet for me is Brentford. Like, would you guys tend to agree with that? Who would you say has got the best chance of a clean sheet during this game week? Is it Brentford? Can we do maybe a poll? Let's do a poll. Who has the best chance of a clean sheet in game week 29? So, Brentford versus Burnley away. Actually, I'll write out the whole thing. Brentford versus Burnley away. I guess Spurs versus Fulham away. After that, where do we even look? Like Aston Villa versus West Ham again away. Or I look around these other fixtures. I mean, Luton versus Forest. Do we think Luton are going to keep a clean sheet all of a sudden? I guess that's a home fixture at least. Like we know Forest are also very, very low on this table of best attacks. So I guess we can throw that one in there as well. Let's start the poll, guys. Let me know what you think. I'll put those 4 options in there. I don't know where else we would look, to be honest. Scott said maybe Luton. Forest not scored in 3. Is that true? 3 games. Let's have a look at this. Let's just click on sales. He scored 2 against Villa. They've not scored the last 2 games. Oh, we're counting cup games as well against Man United in the FA Cup. I guess if you count that. Did they even score in that game? I can't remember now. But anyway, I think if you're going to double up on any defence, it probably is Brentford. Probably. I don't know for 100%. I do think, like, I was looking at this earlier today. When you look at the clean sheet, the like expected goals conceded tables, Spurs are actually currently in 4th, and Forest are in 3rd. To be fair, Forest concede a lot more goals than is expecting. But Spurs, I don't know. Like these are teams that actually their expected goals conceded are reasonably low. I know Spurs like just do not keep clean sheets other than that game against Villa. And neither did Nottingham Forest. I mean, Nottingham Forest keep clean sheets? Not really. Not really. So we go just through this period. I mean, they've kept 1 clean sheet, and that was against West Ham, who was very much struggling at that moment with some missing players. It's a difficult one, isn't it? W. Harrison says Collins is a good defensive shout for Brentford. Historically, Collins has been a fairly decent attacking threat from those set pieces, but hasn't really proved it too much this season. 1.6 XG, 0.7 XA. It's not quite the same as Roslev, what he's been more recently. Obviously, not had quite as many fixtures to go through, but it's like more recently, you can see Roslev against Chelsea, 0.56 XG, 0.2 XA. Against West Ham, 0.16 and 0.5. And then against Man City and Liverpool, tough games, but regardless, going to Wolves, 0.14 XG. Again, it's like, this is not too bad. He scored, of course, against Chelsea as well. You got assists against Forest and Palace as well. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I think Region is the better option. His numbers are typically a little bit better. You can kind of see through here. His numbers are a little bit better, but I don't know. Joseph says I prefer Flecken. I definitely like Flecken. I think if you're going for a goalkeeper this week, it's Flecken. I mean, go through like the predicted points. Flecken is not actually the highest according to the algorithm. That actually has like quite a lot of players higher. Let's just go for Gameweek29 only. So we've actually got Kaminsky, Trafford, and Martinez higher, but I don't know if I'm backing Burnley to keep a clean sheet against Brentford. I don't think I could ever back Kaminsky and Luton to keep a clean sheet. Martinez, I see it in a way, but I think the fact that they've got no Kamara and no McGinn now is kind of an unquantifiable kind of loss that can't necessarily be picked up by stats alone. And therefore, I would expect West Ham to score against Aston Villa. I mean, hell, we just saw what happened against Spurs. So Flecken would be my favourite goalkeeper, but apparently he's not the only one. Apparently he's not the only option there. I just think I think maybe the stats have just kind of thrown the algorithms and stuff like that off Flecken's trail a little bit recently because of the horrible fixtures that Brentford have had. Sexy Beast says Burnley and clean sheets is far-fetched. Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is. FPL Giant says, isn't there rotation risk with Roslev and Lewis Potter? Lewis Potter injured. Lewis Potter play on the other side, doesn't he? Let's have a look and see. Well, Lewis Potter is not really a wing back. If Brentford go back to a formation with, let's go Roslev, with a formation with a back four, you would imagine that Lewis Potter doesn't play. I definitely get where you're coming from. If Region's back, then maybe Lewis Potter comes in there, but he's an attacker, really. He's not really a fullback. Maybe a potential wing back. But if you go for the last game, that's not the last game. That's the first game of the season. Here we go, Arsenal, where we had Lewis Potter on the left. He does. I think Lewis Potter typically would play on the on the left-hand side. You can kind of see, let's go on current season. We're on transfer marks, of course. You can see typically he will play on the left-hand side. He played one game there on the right against West Ham. All the other games, he was either kind of on the bench or kind of playing in the left-hand side, really. So he's primarily left-hand-sided player. And, yeah, you'd imagine that it would be... that would be Roslev, taking that right-hand side. So, I'm not too worried. Not too worried, to be honest. I mean, if you are worried, then do something about it. But, there we go. W. Harrison says, the AI tool is loving Burnley defence this week for some reason. Suggests 2 defenders on the free hit team. Does it really? That's quite nuts. I think I understand why. It's because, actually, Burnley's defensive numbers are not that bad, I think, very recently. Actually, is it very recently? Yeah, okay. So the past couple of game weeks, Burnley's defensive numbers not right at the bottom, but I mean, you go back far enough and you just see that Burnley are one of the worst defenses in the entire league, and you don't really want to be picking defenders from their teams. To be fair, Bubikar says I'd actually just get Collins. I think Collins is the safest. If you're just looking for minutes, yeah, Collins is the safest. Patrick says, do we know anything about Reguilon's injury? Yeah, we did speak about that briefly earlier. He's got a minor hamstring injury, whatever that means, and apparently he could be fine for this game week. But if you're on a free hit, you perhaps don't take that risk yet. Wait for more information on that one, I suppose. But hey, you never know. Even if he's benched. Bench points are going to be worth as much as anything this game week, aren't they? So, okay, this is what my team's looking like right now. I think the next move I potentially make is to remove Morris. Because although Morris seems like a very obvious pick, Forest aren't quite as bad defensively as, you might think. I think Forest are a stronger defense than they are an attack, for example. And, I don't know, watching Luton play this weekend and they're attacking there didn't fill me with confidence, to be honest. Although they can score goals. Morris is a player on penalties as well. But is there somewhere else we could go? So I'm kind of wondering, is there another kind of, maybe midfielder, maybe a forward that I can go for instead? Looking at the predicted points tool to try and get an idea of, some of the best forwards to go for. Tony is on top. Alongside Watkins. Tony actually tracking slightly higher than Watkins somehow, but it's happened. And then after that, Fofana at Burnley, who's been in pretty good form recently, but I'd rather back the Brentford defence than the Burnley attack, and I don't want to do both. I'm going to pick one or the other, so I'll probably be looking to avoid Fofana. Maybe it's an interesting differential based on this tool, but I don't know, not much more than that. I mean, Johan Wissa, fairly decent numbers. I've mentioned this a couple of times over the last couple of days, but Wissa's, I'll just show you. But Wissa's attacking numbers are actually similar to Tony since he came back from injury. So if we go just kind of, let's just go forwards, kind of make that comparison. We'll go per start. And yeah, you can probably see per game, they are pretty much all, per start, all these 3 players are very similar. But you can see that Wissa actually has higher XG per start. It's a smaller sample size with 3 starts. And he is a slight more minutes risk, 77 minutes he's played per start recently. Potential for him to play on the wing as well if Brentford do switch up their formation. Which I guess nails him on more. Or does it? Does Lewis Potter go on the left? Wissa on the right? Wissa can play on the right. Or he can play as part of a 2-man strike force. So, yeah, it's interesting. But, yeah, Wissa, similar amount of shots per game. Similar amount of shots in the box per game. Actually, more XG. Similar creative numbers as well. Maybe even slightly better. Wissa is, low-key a decent pick. And he could be the differential to go for. If you look at, the points recently for Wissa as well. Got attacking, really. He's got goals in his last 3 games. 3 games, 3 goals. It's not bad. It's not bad. Since he's, coming back. He's not 100% nailed on. And if he does start, he's not 100% to play the whole game. But it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Who else could we potentially go for instead of Morris? Because I just feel like I want to add a differential. I want to add, like, this to me looks too boring. This team looks too boring to me. Free hit is your opportunity to go crazy for one game week only and pick those players you wouldn't necessarily want to own long term. I think Morris is a player who could definitely damage me if I was to not pick him this week. But I definitely think it's worth looking at some alternatives here. So moving on through these, well, I want to see midfielders as well, really. So obviously Son, Watkins, Tony Watkins, Bowen, Maddison. Those 5 are a lock for me pretty much on this free hit in the attacking position, which leaves 2 more. One of them is, I think, going to be Bailey, who I think in fairness, maybe not among like the top FPL managers, but among like the overall player base, I think a lot more people will go for Douglas Luiz over Bailey. Where actually Bailey's numbers are, you know, significantly better. In fact, I want to do a player comparison on these two. So I'm going to put Douglas Luiz, because I know people are going to go for Douglas Luiz over Bailey. I bet the transfer, well, I think I'm pretty sure I know that the transfer trends are already suggesting that Bailey's not going to be as popular. So let's just go on Aston Villa transfers in round. Yeah, Douglas Luiz more than double Bailey's transfers in so far. But you look at these numbers and we'll go, can we go per, we'll go per start. And this is over the course of the season. But can we go? I don't think you can change like to more recent game weeks, can you? Oh, filter fixtures. Here we go. Right, so let's go like from game week 20. From game week 20 for each of them, so we get a slightly more recent idea. Maybe that's gonna work a little bit better. Do we have non-penalty XG on here? No, we don't. Attacking simple. Does that have non-penalty XG? No. Maybe not. Okay, let's just go. Just gonna leave it on that one then. But yeah, expected points. Bailey comes out slightly higher. Expected assists. Bailey is, you know, quite a bit higher there. Things like touches in the box, shots in the box, better. Big chances Douglas Luiz has. He's edging Bailey, to be fair, as is with XG, but that's penalties. That's your penalties. I just don't know. I mean, Douglas Luiz, if he gets a penalty, then everything changes between these two picks, and Douglas Luiz becomes. Aston Villa get. If I could guarantee Aston Villa we're going to get a penalty in Game Week 29, or even if I thought there was like I don't know, 51% chance that Aston Villa would get a penalty this game week, then Douglas Luiz would probably be my pick. But we know the reality is that a team typically will get a penalty once every 4 games, maybe, if they're fortunate. One penalty every 4 or 5 games is probably about average. And you would say that, you know, looking at the Aston Villa squad, even if Aston Villa were to win a penalty, who's going to be winning it? Bailey, kind of the guy. He's kind of the guy, isn't he? And he's very much a nice vibes pick as well. Looks really, really... He's an exciting player to own in FPL. So he edges it for me. And I think that would be one differential, going for Bailey over Douglas Luiz. I think, yeah, but like I said, I think a lot of the top FPL managers will opt for Bailey over Douglas Luiz. I might be wrong about that one. But I guess we'll see. Another thing, I mentioned this in the video earlier, like Douglas Luiz, a lot of his creativity comes from taking corners as well. And West Ham aren't exactly the kind of team you want to be attacking with set pieces, I guess. Of course, says West Ham have given away the most penalties for the season. Is that true? Danny Clough says you get a penalty 1 in 9 games. Interesting. Cronus says I picked Luiz because I don't think he's ever going to be rotated. Yeah, like Douglas Luiz is probably the better long-term pick, but on form, you know, I've got a one week punt on as many players as I like. I think I back Bailey. This game week. But yeah, no, he's certainly less, more minutes risk. Danny again says 4.8 penalties per Premier League season, according to Opta stats for last season. 4.8 penalties per Premier League team. Yeah, which would which put you at about 1 in 8, 1 in 9, wouldn't it? Wow. Even less chance than I thought for Douglas Luiz getting a penalty. Yeah, I'm backing Bailey. But yeah, I will, you know, say this, like, there is nothing wrong with Douglas Luiz as a pick. I just personally prefer Bailey. They're both great. But yeah, Bailey against this West Ham defence, could cook. So yeah, it's Morris is that one player that I'd be willing to sacrifice here, I think. But yeah, where do we go? I like the idea of going for Wisser. Let's go down the list a little bit further, see if anyone else pops up as potential. Bailey, pretty decent predicted points, by the way. 4.6 predicted points, which is 0.3 higher than Douglas Luiz this game week. Muniz I like against Spurs at home. Morris is decent. Kulusevski is decent, but I think I want to go for Pedro Porro this week. Kudus is decent. Elanga, if he can get the minutes, is a great pick. Iwobi is a bit of a dull pick, but a safe pick at least. Paqueta for the penalties. Could be nice. Soucek probably not going to go there. Wood probably not going to go there. Barkley not going to go there. Werner a bit too risky for me for minutes. Ward-Prowse, Hudson-Odoi, etc., etc. Yeah, I think we're probably going too far by this point. Gibbs-White back in the team. Maybe. Do I think Paqueta is going under the radar? His numbers aren't that good. Let's go West Ham. The penalty factor is also always a big thing, and he plays a bit more advanced than the likes of like a Douglas Luiz at Villa. But yeah, his underlying numbers in the 3 games he's played, which is a small sample size, are actually a bit better than Kudus and Bowen. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's a big enough sample size for me. He's definitely an interesting pick. I think, is Paqueta going under the radar? I mean, I guess considering that everyone talks about Kudus and Bowen, but nobody talks about Paqueta, in that sense, yes. Paqueta could be an interesting differential. Gibbs-White on pens as well. Yeah, that's true. Gibbs-White is a player on penalties. Could we just load up on penalty takers? With a Paqueta in there? Morris is a penalty taker though, so I wonder, do we need to drop Morris and pick up another penalty taker if I'm going to do it? Wisser is not that guy. Could we go for Paqueta? Is that a bit too risky? I don't know. Okay. The penalty factor. I do like the penalty factor. And the fact I've gone for Bailey, no Douglas Luiz. I want to get an extra penalty taker in there, potentially. Linus, by the way, thank you very much for joining the best mate tier. That is very, very much appreciated. Yeah, thank you so much for the support on the channel. Linus, I see you around here on the streams all the time. So, yeah, like, massive thank you, man. Really, really do appreciate that. All members, you know, you really do help keep this channel going. So, yeah, massive, massive shout out to all members. And particularly Linus, our latest best mate tier member. Legend, man. Legend. Scott says, can you get the penalty taker from each team? Okay, let's go through the teams. Let's go through the fixtures and see who would be the penalty taker from each team. So, Gameweek29. So, for Burnley, the penalty taker is Brownhill. Linus says, fed up of super chatting. No problem, man. No problem. We'll keep an eye out for your chats. Burnley, it would be Brownhill. Brentford would be Tony. Luton is Morris. Nottingham Forest is Gibbs-White. Fulham is... Who is Fulham's penalty taker? I can't remember the last time I saw Fulham get a penalty. Right, guys in the chat, let me know who is Fulham's penalty taker. Spurs is Son. West Ham's is Paqueta. And Aston Villa's is Douglas Luiz. I think we could get a few of those. I mean, definitely Tony. We definitely have Tony. Definitely have Son. Where else do we go? Because that's only 2 penalty takers. Maybe Paqueta is my differential. Willian. Willian. Is he like 100% nailed on at the moment? You guys are saying Willian. Okay. Andreas Pereira. God, I remember that. God, he was an FPL legend last season, wasn't he? How many minutes is Willian getting at the moment? Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot. Can we look at... okay, let's go. Fulham penalty shooters on Transfermarkt. Love this website, by the way. Another one of my favourite websites. So, yeah, William's taken the last 2. This was in a penalty shootout against Everton in December. As was this against Spurs. So the data from this season, we've only really got Willian. We go last season, it was all Pedro. It was all Mitrovic with Andreas Pereira taking 1. Yeah, well, yeah, then Mitrovic. Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, I don't know. Is it gonna be Andreas Pereira then taking the penalties? You would imagine. Based on Willian not really getting enough minutes recently, Andreas the penalty taker. Do you want to take that risk? Hey, with Romero in the back line, there's always a chance of a penalty for Fulham. I don't think I'll be taking a risk on Andreas though. Like, his numbers this season have just not been great. They've not been great. So I think I'll be looking to avoid there. So, right, okay. Let's go through some of my favourite, some of like the best differentials we've just been speaking about then. So, Paqueta, I think, is an interesting differential. Wissa is an interesting differential. Muniz, for sure. Let's go back on. Where did I put my predicted points? Here we go. So, differentials. Fofana, I don't think I'm going to go there. Kulusevski, I don't think I'm going to go there. Alanga is so risky. But I can't lie, I am thinking about it. Alanga, after that, I'm kind of out of ideas. There is not... The difficulty is with this game week is that because of the, like, I guess, lack of fixtures, there is a lack of options. There is a lack of options. So, in terms of my Morris replacement differentials, and I'm not necessarily recommending this to any of you guys, by the way. I'm a guy, I like a differential. Like, Alanga has the best underlying numbers. But I don't think it's 100% guaranteed to start. Paqueta. You know, since you brought... Who was it? Who brought up Paqueta? Who said Paqueta could be going under the radar? Since you've mentioned him, I'm thinking about him more. I am thinking about him more. Make yourself known, whoever said that Paqueta was potentially going under the radar. Alanga risky, Paqueta interesting, Muniz and Wissa definitely interesting. Is Paqueta too risky? But he's the only player out of these who have penalties. Barkley, says Linus. Yeah, not really sure. Not really sure about Barkley. Like, he's just not putting up those attacking numbers at all recently. I think his position has changed a little bit in that Luton Town team. Ben says, from watching West Ham, I've noticed when Ward-Prowse and Phillips play, it gives Paqueta more freedom to get attacking returns. That could be a good point. Because when I initially said, yeah, Paqueta, yeah, his numbers have not been great this season, I was thinking back to the pre-Phillips West Ham. I was thinking about Paqueta early end of the season, where wasn't looking too good. Wasn't looking too good. Not sure the data backs it up. I mean, the data... In the 3 games, to have 0.6 goal involvements per start, expected goal involvements per start, that's not bad. I would say anyone with above 0.5 expected goal involvements is a player worth considering in FPL per game. Over 0.5 expected goal involvements per game. And Paqueta's tracking at 0.6. I don't know. Steve says Kudus. Kudus has potential, yeah. Kudus definitely has potential. I think when we just looked, Kudus actually has slightly better numbers than Bowen as well. But Bowen is the guy, right? He is the guy. It's difficult to leave him out. Let's just see what my team looks like. Okay, so say we did remove Iwobi and put in Paqueta, made that transfer, and swapped Paqueta on for Morris, leaving Morris on the bench, do I like just spare myself the pain of bench points by putting in a terrible forward in there? Maybe not. But you know what? It's risky, but I kind of like it. I do kind of like it. Because a penalty for West Ham, or, you know, if Aston Villa continue to struggle defensively. Like, by the way, guys, look at the defensive numbers for Aston Villa more recently. Like, they're down to, what's that? 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13th. They're down at 13th. You know, the last few game weeks, like, they've been even lower. Yeah, even lower in the last few game weeks. And that's despite some very favourable fixtures. Aston Villa have had some great fixtures, but they are conceding chances because, unfortunately, their defence is just decimated at the moment. So if you look at some of these, games, 2.28 expected goals conceded against Luton, 2.58 against Forest, 1.4 against Fulham, 1.26 against Sheffield United, 1.13 against Everton. These do not fill anyone with joy. I'm leaning more and more towards Paqueta as a differential. I think he might be my guy. My differential guy. What's his ownership like? See, I love this. One of the reasons I love these streams is you kind of get some new ideas. Because a lot of you guys are top FPL managers. You know what you're talking about. You really know what you're talking about. And you have nuggets of information. Like, I'll never be a person to claim to know it all. Always open to new ideas. And 1.6 ownership Paqueta. Oh, it's nice, isn't it? It's nice. It's nice. So Foul is good for an assist. Yeah, he's also good for conceding 4 goals because West Ham are a terrible defence. Terrible. Now, I won't be touching the West Ham defence, unfortunately. I didn't talk about Awaniyi. What's his injury status right now? Have we got any new news on him? Where are you, Awaniyi? 18 minutes, 25 minutes. Yeah. He's not been getting minutes, has he? Is he not? He's not 100% fit, is he? And maybe he is. Any Forest fans care to shed some light on why Awaniyi's not been getting minutes recently? Well, I say recently. I mean, yeah, to be fair, like, even in 2024 and 25, where he started the games, he was, not playing the full game, not getting 90 minutes, not a 90-minute man. So I think he's maybe fallen out of favour a little bit, fallen out of fashion a little bit in FPL, I would say. So yeah, I think someone asked why he's so low on predicted points. That'd be why. All right. Okay, guys. Well, look, this is where I'm at with my free hit team then, as of today. Oh, I like it. I like the Paqueta differential. I don't know if I'll actually stick with it, but we'll see. Awaniyi played 90 versus United in the Cup. Okay. Gomez since Gomez. All right. So they're just out of favour with the manager. Okay. I don't think we'll be talking too much about Awaniyi. To be fair, to be honest, yeah. All right, this is my team, guys. This is my team. As of today, this is my free hit draft. So one change, really. Well, actually, technically 2 changes since the video on Sunday. 2 changes. Rorslev comes in for Moreno, and Paqueta comes in for technically Iwobi, and then Morris goes onto the bench. It's not bad. Right, let's throw this out for a 10-minute Q&A. Before we finish off the video, guys, if you've got any questions, please leave them in the chat. No super chats required. Just we'll just answer your your chats as they come in. I'll be picking out the most interesting and most broad questions. Questions that are very, very specific to your team and maybe not specific to anyone else's team. I will probably be ignoring, to be honest. But those general questions, get them in the chat. And whilst I wait for those questions to come in, guys, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like on the stream, that would be massively appreciated. Views in the FPL world are down a little bit at the moment. People not consuming as much F videos, and the subscribes if you haven't done already. I think the internet just dropped a little bit there, but just in case that didn't come out. But likes and subscribes are appreciated more than anything at the moment, because we're very much getting into the quiet area of my internet truly did die there, didn't it? We're getting into the quiet time in the FPL world whereby sometimes views are going to be a little bit down and stuff. All support appreciated, but we'll leave that there. Okay, guys, let's have a look at some of these questions. By the way, those of you saying appreciating my team, thank you very much. I'm glad you like the look of this team. I think it's got the right balance of template and differential in there, which is always good fun. Sock LH says, Wissa for Bailey, you want it. I do not want it. I do not want it. Linus says, Paqueta's a decent differential for sure. Finn says, would you captain Tony? If I didn't have Son, Tony would be one of the players I'd be having a look at for a captaincy. The thing is, Son and Watkins are players with the huge haul potential, whereas Tony is more of a player who very rarely gets more than a 9-pointer, which is a goal and 3 bonus points. Very rare that he'll get more than that. So his ceiling, I would say Tony's ceiling is a lot lower than the likes of Son and Watkins. And if you're going for that big hitting, captaincy, Son and Watkins are my preferred players, I guess. Son in particular on form, but I'm very tempted by Watkins. I don't want to be damaged by Son any more than I have done already, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Son and Watkins would be my preferred captain. I wouldn't go for Tony just because I think their ceiling is a little bit lower there. Pog Boomer says, how many players would you have to not use a free hit? If I had 5 players, or maybe even 6, to be honest, I'd be hoping to have at least 5 before transfers, before thinking about not using a free hit. And then I'd probably take a -8 to get to 8 minimum to not use a free hit. Focusing pretty much entirely on those attacking positions, and ideally players I'd want to own long term, unless I was planning on wildcarding very, very shortly. 5, really 6. If you have 6 players for this game week, you probably don't need a free hit. If you have 5, you might. If you have less than 5, just do it. I think just do it, to be honest. Pretty easy. Sahil says, mate, thoughts on Romero over Porro or Doggy? I don't know why. I feel Romero can get something against Fulham. He is good for bonus points. He's decent for bonus points. His attacking threat is not there as much as Pedro Porro and Doggy. And I know it sounds controversial considering Romero scored 4 goals this season, but it's a bit out of character from him. Romero historically has been like a 1 goal per season type player. And yeah, fair enough. He may pop up with a goal, but you can't really predict it. Whereas by players like Porro and Udogie have much more predictable and reliable kind of attacking output. So, I don't mind Romero. I don't think Romero is a terrible pick or anything like that. But he's not my preference, I guess. He's not my preference. Anyway, Janania says, how many changes will you make after West Ham and Villa play in the Europa League on Thursday? If there's injuries, everything changes. Everything changes if there's injuries. Or if Paqueta plays like 90 plus minutes, that maybe worries me a little bit. But players like Paqueta are like, they're such important players that even if they play 90 in the midweek, you expect them to play a decent amount of minutes at the weekend as well. Someone like Bailey, if Bailey was to play 90 minutes in the Conference League for Villa, I would think about potentially removing him. But it would have to be 90 minutes. And Bailey doesn't play 90 minutes in Europe. It doesn't happen. But if he does, hey, you never know. John Ritchie says, how many of the 10 million accounts do you consider to be playing properly? I don't really like terms like playing properly. It seems a little bit kind of, I don't know, maybe a bit arrogant to say that there is only 1 or 2 or 3 ways of playing FPL. There's many ways of playing FPL properly. If you're simply talking about the most engaged FPL managers, players, FPL managers who actually make transfers each week and actually try, maybe they're not getting it right 100% of the time, but they're trying at least. I would say that we're talking at least 3 or 4 million. There's top FPL managers, by the way. There's FPL managers with great histories who are ranked around 2-3 million at the moment. So they're obviously competing with other active managers. I mean, my wife plays FPL. She does transfers 90% of the weeks and sets her captain and stuff like that. I would say that she is playing properly. Her rank is probably around 2 million, something like that. Some of you guys who are watching this will have ranked around 2 million. There's millions of players playing properly. There's millions of active managers. Probably 4 million, I would say. Fully engaged managers. Which is a lot. Which makes a rank 200, 300k sound a lot better when you put it that way, doesn't it? A lot better indeed. Anyway, Phil says, you're bringing in both game week 30 for a -4. I think I'll be bringing in I don't know if you're actually talking to me or not, but yeah, I'll probably be taking a -4 in game week 30. I'll be removing KDB for Salah. I'll have to make up the money somewhere. That'll be either Watkins, Trippier, or Foden. Or, if there's an injury somewhere, then maybe that helps answer that question. But, I'm not gonna commit to that quite yet. Thunderboy says, hey Dan, if I use a free hit chip this week, is there any way of making a transfer that is permanent and carrying over to future game weeks? No, there is not. Did try and cover this in the video I made today, but yeah, just to reiterate, when you free hit, say you were to free hit in game week 29, your game week 30 team will be the same as your game week 28 team. So any change you make during the week that you free hit will be completely cancelled out. So you can't make a transfer and then free hit. It doesn't work like that. Your game week, if you free hit in 29, your game week 30 team will be identical to your game week 28 team. That's how it works. And also, if you have 2 free transfers and then play your free hit, if you've got 2 free transfers banked, an extra free transfer banked, you play your free hit, you lose that free transfer. It's gone. By the time game week 30 rolls around, you'll be back to 1 free transfer. It's just the way it works. It cancels out everything. Harry says, hey Dan, who's the best option for a third Spurs pick, a Doggy or Madison? Madison. Boom. Easy. What else have we got here? Pankaj says, I'm planning to keep Wissa and Tony. Am I crazy? Other striker will be Watkins, of course. I don't think you're crazy at all. I like it. I like Wissa as a differential. Richard says, is there a go back in time chip so I can start this game week again? Unfortunately not. Otherwise, we'd all be transferring in Son and Palmer and various other random players who scored points this week. Wasn't too many points on offer so far this game week, was there? I'm sure a few people are regretting that Solanke captaincy as well, myself included. Archie says, thoughts on Hudson-Odoi as a punt? Hudson-Odoi was also benched in 28, wasn't he? Alongside Elanga. Because it was Gibbs-White, Wood, and Origi. So I don't know, maybe a little bit risky there. If you're going to go for one of Hudson-Odoi and Elanga has by far the superior numbers. So, yeah, that's where I would probably look to go. Who's the best Nottingham Forest player to own? I mean, we can have a quick look. Elanga has the best numbers. So I probably would say him. And I think he's going to come back into the... the starting 11. I'm spelling Nottingham wrong here. Am I lost the plot here? Is that not how you spell Nottingham? I clicked something wrong? Nottingham. Let's refresh this page. Past, I don't know, this amount of game weeks. Nottingham. Ah, it's because in the game it's Nottingham. So we'll go, is it that or Nottingham? Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right. So, expected points over this period. Alanga coming out way out on top with an insane 7 big chances in his last 6 games. That was including the bench appearance. Absolutely nuts. Second for predicted points is Sells. Then Gibbs White, who is the penalty taker. Hudson-Odoi, who has got 3 goals during this period, but his attacking numbers are pretty washed, to be fair. And if you think Alanga is minutes risk, then you've got to put Hudson-Odoi in the same category. I think Gibbs White or Alanga would probably be where I would go. Like Gibbs White penalty factor definitely is definitely something worth considering. FPL Yellow Army is here. Hi Dan, how important do you think a strong bench is on a free hit? I think it's completely unimportant, to be honest. I mean, if you're playing a free hit, you're in a good position to pick players you know are going to play. But I mean, your 8th attacker should, I guess, be decent and maybe have one. Like in my team, like I've got an 8th attacker and that's Morris currently. And for my, I guess, 4th defender, I've got a minute safe player like in Consa. So there we go. Adam says, what's your thoughts on the Fantasy Football Hub AI free hit team? Should we have a look at it? Let's have a look at the AI free hit team. Always fun. Kaminsky, Doughty, Assignon. I did see Assignon with the high predicted points. Taylor, Son, Bowen, Madison, Bailey, Tiny, Watkins, Fafana. So it's going all in on a Burnley win to 0, basically. Not really backing Aston Villa. Only double Spurs, not triple. And only Bowen from West Ham. Well, it's got double Aston Villa, actually. Bailey and Watkins in there. I'm not convinced. If I'm totally honest, I'm not totally convinced by this one. I'm not totally convinced. I prefer mine. Joseph says benching Morris. I mean, I'm not benching Morris. Morris is just like my 8th attacker. I mean, I would play him, but instead of who? And I know you're going to say Paqueta. And if I wanted to go boring, I would just play Morris instead of Paqueta, but don't know if I'm going to do that. Don't know if I'm going to do that. Kabalev says double up with Alanga and Gibbs White for extra differential. Might be a bridge too far. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, to be honest. Scott says Slanky to Tony or roll means a -4 next week and need more money to get Salah and Haaland. I don't mind. That the transfer to Tony. I mean, I guess if it really damages your future teams, then maybe not. As long as you've got some other key players, you can probably cover Tony. I think for non-free hitters, Tony is probably going to be maybe the least owned of the big 5. So the big 5 being Watkins, Son, Maddison, Bowen, and Tony. You would say that Tony's probably going to be the lesser owned among those because he's just harder to get to, particularly if you own Solanke and Morris and Haaland, maybe. Watkins, obviously, you're not going to sell him. Perhaps some people sold Tony recently as well. I know a lot of people sold Tony last week. He got price drop last week, in fact. So, yeah, I don't know. But I think we'll leave it there, guys. I'm not going to look at price changes because price changes are massively being, like messed up. The price changes predictions are getting messed up by everyone free hitting at the moment, so it's more difficult to predict who's going to go up and down in price. And I don't think there's too much rush to make transfers this week anyway, to be perfectly honest with you guys. So yeah, we're going to leave it there, but I appreciate you guys joining me today. Thank you for all of your questions. Hopefully we got to answer a few of those key ones. Please, like I say, do make sure you drop a like before you disappear on the stream. It really, really is massively appreciated. Do subscribe if you're new around here. And we're going to be back tomorrow for Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid. A reminder, guys, this is my current free hit draft. We're going a little bit differential at the moment with Paqueta in there. But let's see how we get on closer to deadline. We've still got a few days before committing. But aside from that, guys, make sure you check out the tier list video we put up earlier today. And I'll see you tomorrow for Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid. Once again, shout out to Back Stronger Shirts. Link at the top of the description if you want to get a shirt of your very own. I think I'll be back for more. And yeah, I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.